Good evening, I'm Patricia Vallone with the CTV News Update. A flood of evictions could start next week, which could lead to many people being homeless. That's the dire warning from many activists. The Maryland judiciary plans to resume hearing eviction cases on July 25th when the federal moratorium ends. The 120-day moratorium was part of the CARES Act, which passed in March. Governor Hogan also put a temporary halt on certain evictions during the state of emergency if tenants can prove hardship due to the pandemic.
So what we're looking at is masses and masses of Marylanders at risk of eviction right now.
Governor Hogan imposed a moratorium on evictions back in April that remains in effect until the state of emergency ends. But that is for tenants affected by COVID-19. There are still approximately 20% of tenants at risk of eviction in Maryland. CASA says that's about 145,000 people, and now eviction hearings are expected to start back up again next week.
Governor Hogan's eviction moratorium only covers some evictions. So people who are not dealing with regular eviction cases are at risk because on July 25th, evictions are going to resume. Courts are reopening regardless of that eviction order. And we have no clear date on when this eviction order is going to end.
CASA is concerned that whole families could end up homeless in the middle of the pandemic.
Evictions are a public health crisis, right? So no matter what the reason is, no one should be getting kicked out of their home.
Hogan recently announced that the state would put $30 million toward rental assistance for tenants impacted by the coronavirus. But the amount won't help much in Langley Park, one of the hardest hit areas.
One group of people who have been hit extremely hard throughout this pandemic from the very beginning has been immigrants, particularly undocumented immigrants. So, COVID cases are going down, but inequities are still persisting. We have seen, just a recent, you mentioned Langley Park, where we have the highest number of undocumented adults who do not have access to, one, any relief from the federal government, and two, they're not eligible for unemployment at the state level, and three, the $30 million that Governor Hogan did allocate is coming from the Federal CARES Act. So undocumented immigrants will not be eligible for that as well.
Immigrant organizations have been advocating for housing relief since the beginning of the pandemic. CASA says the $30 million will translate to only about $200 per household in a state where the average monthly rent is about $1,300.
That $200 is not going to make a dent in even just 1 month of rent.
According to Maryland Matters, the Fair Action Housing Center of Maryland has seen a 400% increase in clients compared to last year. COVID-19 compliance teams will be out in force in Prince George's this weekend conducting inspections. County Executive Angela Ossobrooks has created these new teams to make sure that businesses are following coronavirus health guidelines. Retail stores, restaurants, and other businesses should expect a visit from the inspectors. Ossobrooks says the county has seen a slight increase in virus cases and wants to make sure that residents are following facial covering and social distancing rules. An ambulance company tries to raise its rates by $630,000 because of the COVID pandemic. But according to the Sun newspaper, the city of Baltimore is refusing to pay. Heart to Heart Transportation has a 5-year, $33 million service contract with the city, but is seeking a surcharge. The company provides transit service for Medicaid clients. Meantime, the state today reports 707 new COVID-19 cases and 12 deaths over the last 24 hours. The Washington football team is bringing in an outside investigator to probe allegations of sexual harassment by top company executives. Byron Scott has our story.
I'm Byron Scott. Controversy surrounding the Washington football team, and now the NFL says it will wait until an investigation of workplace misconduct made against the team is complete before determining whether the club should be penalized. More than a dozen women who worked for the team from 2015 to 2019 say they had to deal with sexual harassment and verbal abuse by former scouts and the team owner's inner circle. 3 men who worked with the team left the organization this week. A statement issued by the league reads in part, "These matters as reported are serious, disturbing, and contrary to NFL values. Everyone in the NFL has the right to work in an environment free from any and all forms of harassment." Team owner Dan Snyder has also released a statement saying the allegations have strengthened his commitment to setting a new culture and standard for the team. I'm Byron Scott.
The General Services Administration pulls the plug on the search for a new FBI headquarters in either suburban Maryland or Northern Virginia. That means the nation's top law enforcement agency will have to stay put in its deteriorating D.C. headquarters for the foreseeable future. Greenbelt and Landover were two of the three final sites under consideration for the originally planned consolidation of FBI sites. As communities debate police reform measures, some activists have called for an end to police security in public schools. Montgomery County Council member Will Jawando is joining in on that call. He's proposing that funding for school resource officers be eliminated. The county is spending about $3 million annually for the officers. Jawando wants that money reallocated to student services. Prince George's is looking for the community's input as it begins a nationwide search for a new police chief. Residents are encouraged to fill out a 7-question survey about what they want to see in a new chief of police. It'll be available for residents on SurveyMonkey until August 17th. Nearly 58,000 Marylanders signed up for health coverage during the coronavirus special enrollment period that ended on Wednesday. Of that 58,000, nearly 11,000 were from Prince George's. In Montgomery County, 10,500 signed up for coverage. Marylanders who have lost coverage due to job loss may still be eligible to sign up through Maryland Health Connection within 60 days of loss of coverage. For more information, go to MarylandHealthConnection.gov. Well, it is going to be a hot weekend. Temperatures both days are expected to be in the upper 90s, but forecasters say it'll feel more like 100 degrees out there. If you are out and about, and you are advised to drink plenty of water and wear lightweight and loose-fitting clothes. A familiar face is putting her vocal cords to use to raise money for charity. Do you recognize her? It's the president of the Prince George's Teachers Union, Teresa Dudley. Dudley's live impersonations and skits range from artists such as Sammy Davis Jr., Aretha Franklin, and even Prince. She says while performing karaoke has allowed her to blow off some steam, she has also raised thousands of dollars for charities and organizations, including the Black Lives Matter movement. We recently spoke with Dudley about how it all started.
Kenny Rogers died, and I got on the Facebook and I started singing Kenny Rogers songs one night. And I just got an overwhelming response from my friends who were watching. And they said, you should do this person, you should do that person. And so I said, well, you know what? The karaoke really makes me feel happy. And I was really feeling like I was trapped in the house.
And you can tune in to her live karaoke parody on Facebook at Teresa Mitchell Dudley.
Hi everybody and welcome to the Friday Sports Page. We start tonight talking soccer. DC United battled back from a 2-0 deficit to earn a 2-2 draw against Toronto FC in the first game of the MLS's back tournament. Head coach Ben Olsen was happy with that result, but knows his team must play better if they're going to win their next game. It's against the New England Revolution tonight.
We're happy with our result. We're not that happy with the performance, and we feel like we can get quite a bit more effective in this game than we were against Toronto. And we've identified some areas to continue to grow so that we can keep improving on the field and get a result. You get this win and you're in good shape to move on.
They were very good up front, especially the striker. So for us, it's going to be a different game, like than Toronto. We are more prepared for this game, I think. We needed a first game, to be ready because we didn't play since a few months. So it's going to be a completely a different game. And of course, they have a very good player up front. Right now, they are very well, a good organization. But we work on, and I think right now, with the result we got, with the mentality we showed during the first game, we are on a good way.
New England is a much improved team. You know, the second Bruce Arena got there, he's changed, I think, the culture there. He's getting the most out of his big name players, and as always, he has a team that's balanced and understands who they are, and they're playing at I think as high a level as they have been in the last few years.
DC United and the New England Revolution get underway tonight at 8 o'clock in the MLS's back tournament in Orlando. Moving on to baseball, opening day is just 1 week away for the Baltimore Orioles when they travel to Boston to take on the Red Sox. Now, John Means will be your opening day starter for the Birds, but the rest of the rotation is going to look vastly different than 2019. First, there will be a healthy Alex Cobb. Second, they added pitchers Wade LeBlanc and Tommy Malone to the rotation. Catcher Alex WYNNS talked about catching those pitchers.
Working with them. Just working with them. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And as a catcher, you need to know that. You need to know that from head to toe. When something's going wrong, we got to figure out something to do. And knowing their strengths, knowing pitchers' strengths in general should make a catcher better when you go into battle in the game.
I was actually really happy with how I came in. I felt like my command was good for the most part right away. I think the more that, not just me, but I think this is for anybody. The more you're out there, the more crisp your pitches get. The more you throw them to hitters, and the more your timing is, gets better, and just everything kind of sinks together. The more you're out on the mound, actually facing hitters on a consistent basis.
I've caught his bullpens. I caught some inter squads from spring training 1.0. But he looks good. He looks sharp. His fastball command, his changeup, his spin. He had a great tempo yesterday, and that's him. Like, you can look at his track record. He's durable, and you know what you'll get out of him.
And that is your CTV Sports Report.
And that wraps up our newscast. Thanks for tuning in. Join us again Monday at 4:30. Have a great evening.
For the latest information on COVID-19 in Maryland, visit the State Health Department website. That's health.maryland.gov. Again, health.maryland.gov. Click the link to the COVID-19 information portal. There you'll find all the latest information about coronavirus. You'll find daily updates on cases and fatalities. Answers to questions about testing and the governor's stay-at-home order are available as well. For specific information about Prince George's, visit PrinceGeorgesCountyMD.GOV. That's PrinceGeorgesCountyMD.GOV. The site offers information about local services for residents and businesses. There's a link for COVID-19 relief donations. Also, food pantry locations are listed. And if you have any questions, call the county COVID-19 hotline at 301-883-6627. That's 301-883-6627.
You're looking at me in the future. Okay. Hi, Isaac.
Hi. Wait a second.
Do you know who I am?
Julia.
This is Jaina. Into the future. I just wanted to talk to you about what happened with those two girls.
Oh, yeah?
Do you remember it was this girl that I was getting bullied by that one day at PE when they were like yelling at me, and then you just linked arms with me? I don't think you know how much like that helped me, because like I finally like knew that I had somebody. Because of you, Isaac, and what you did for me years ago, I grew up to be more independent and love myself and just be a little bit more confident.
Aw, I'm like a little tearing up right now. Just to see her in the future just blossom and look beautiful, and that was really amazing.